name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. And tonight's guest, believe it or not, is Max Bendich. How you doing, Pop?
How are you doing now?
Great.
I'm doing fine.
That's great. So, I don't know. Today I wanted to talk, first of all, like we're coming up to Mom's birthday, you know, and if Mom was still with us, Dorothy Bendich, on Monday she would turn 94 years old. And it's been a while. It's amazing that she's been gone, you know, for such a long time. But
and we were with her.
yes,
We were, the day that she died.
I know.
And we didn't know anything about it.
Right.
We were kidding around,
I know.
and every now and then she would say her last words, believe it or not, Mac, I want a drink.
Right.
And we would say to her, but the doctor says you're not supposed to have a drink. And we would talk and we would talk, and all of a sudden we left. David left.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
And no, and it isn't. That's it. And I left.
I know.
And then while I'm eating lunch,
Dinner.
dinner, you came in.
Right.
And
And
when
that
you
was
came-
it. No, I got the call. I got the call on the train. I was coming home on the train, and they say, and David told me on the train, you know, what happened, and I had to give you the news. But anyway, that's a separate. I mean, I try not to remember. That day is a day that I won't forget. But I'm more remembering Mom when she was with us, not when she was after she passed away, and but. She had a good time, and she had a great time living in Cathay House,
Yes.
and that's what I want to talk about. I mean, I know that, you know, we talked about this before, but that there was a reluctance on your part and Mom's part to join, to go to Cathay House, and also, to a certain extent, Wendy and I also felt that it's not time for you to go, but you wound up going, and Cathay House became your home, right?
We tried it twice.
Right.
We went one time, 10 years before that.
Right. We
And
talked
what
about
was
that.
Mom's answer all the time?
No.
No.
Right.
And finally, I realized, I don't remember her being too old. And you, the children, were saying, you were an aide to her all the time.
Right.
And
Yes, you were like a home health aide.
Yeah.
That's it. You took care. No, you were the caretaker, the primary caretaker.
Caretaker.
But eventually, you wound up moving there, and I think you found. I mean, it was good for Mom, but it's good for you too. I mean, you found a life there, right, Pop? I mean, it's a good life.
Alan, I'm glad we came here. Why? In the beginning, I didn't like it. Right. I still was driving a car at that time.
Right.
And finally, when they said, Mom needs an aide, I said, what, are you kidding? Who uses it? I'm here. I'm supposed to be helping. Now, the aide isn't for her, it's for you.
Right.
Why? Mom was, every morning when we got up, she had a little, going to the bathroom. She had
problems, right.
Problem. So where did she sit all the time? Right next door to the
bathroom.
to the ladies' bathroom. And no one ever bothered her because that was her seat. Now what, the routine, Mac, get me a book. Not Mac, I think it was Max.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah,
get me a book.
right.
We have a wonderful library.
I know.
And there is really a wonderful, and I would bring her a book. And then, Mac, what a book.
I know.
You must read it. Go and get me another book.
Right.
And the people like her.
But, you know, I think, that was one of the things. Mom always, even before she moved there, she loved to read. But I think she liked the idea also that someone was making food for her and that she had 3 meals a day. And it was just, she enjoyed the food, right?
First of all, she ate everything. It all adds up, Alan.
Right.
The idea that, like you just said, we go into this place, we sit right next to each other, and they give you a menu, actually give you a menu.
It was like a hotel.
Well,
I mean, not quite, but almost.
But
Yeah.
waitresses or waiters
Right.
come over to you, and they ask you what you want, and the food is getting the food is good. Look, I'm there about 7 years or so. And look at me, everything.
You look healthy.
I'm a healthy man. Why? Again, I had no trouble with Mom.
Right.
She liked what she was doing.
Right.
She liked what she saw there.
Right. But I know originally when the issue of you going there, you know, you didn't like the idea. But one thing you also talked about before, have a sip, was that you never want, you know, you're the type of person that never wants to bother your children with any issues, you know, and the idea that potentially Mommy could have fallen down when you were in the house, or you could have fallen down. You had a heart attack. I mean, Mom saved your life with the heart attack by calling the fire, by dialing 911. By the time you were ready to move to Cathay House, Mommy was incapable of making a telephone call. So it was just unsafe for you to be home. And that was, I think you realized it, and that's why you guys moved.
I realized it later on.
Right.
Why do I say later on? Because like you just reminded me, we went to Cathay House. David would ask me, Pop, do you think you're going to live to be at 80?
Right.
Do you think they live to be about 90?
Right.
So we went to Cathay House.
Right.
But at that time, Alan, I was a bridge player.
Right.
And
also, but when you were 80, you were still young. You were already. I mean, you were still meaning. I mean, maybe you're 80 sounds old, but you were still doing things like you were even going up on the roof, which was dangerous. You know, cleaning the roof and things like that. But you were physically capable of doing things that a lot of people who were 80 couldn't do. But Mom was the one. I mean, Mom was the one who. You couldn't rely on Mom to do things because she couldn't do anything anymore.
Now, that I didn't realize. I could see it, but I took it for granted. Mom is the strongest one in the world. Mm-hmm. No, seriously. And maybe I was dependent on her. Right. Not that she was going to be dependent on me.
Well, yeah, you know, that's what happens. I mean, I'm going to be married 23 years at the end of this month. And, you know, you don't realize how attached you are sometimes to the person that you're living. I mean, you just live. You're living. You don't even realize that you're attached.
Alan, that was my argument. She needs you have been her aide. I said, I hate that word.
Right.
I never heard of it before.
Right.
I said, I'm her husband,
right.
and I'm doing things. Why? I wanted to do it. And Mom appreciated it.
Right.
She knew that I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And
but the thing is, then we'll continue though. But you know, then Mom's gone. You know, and then, I mean, then you have to redefine yourself. You know, so.
I did it immediately.
I know, but the redefinition didn't happen immediately. I mean, you said you made the decision to do it.
That's right, I made it.
But it didn't happen overnight. The decision happened overnight, but because the decision wasn't made by you, like the expression, you know, what is it? How do you say it in Yiddish? Men plan, God laughs. Placht and lacht, or whatever it is. You know, Menschen, placht, and how do you say God? In Yiddish.
Gut
lacht.
lacht.
That's it. So basically, like you make plans, and all of a sudden the plans change because of luck, right?
And eventually, I didn't like the idea. Alan, I didn't like the idea.
Of what?
Maybe I should have.
About moving to Cathay House?
About moving to Cathay.
But the thing is, but I think by the time, especially when Mom passed, you had already been ingrained in Cathay House. So you had at this point there was no more. I mean, this was your life already.
That's right.
And what'd you say? Like last night was it? They had opera or whatever night it was. Even though you said that you could.
Last night we never had it before.
Right.
A live opera.
Yeah.
And you see, but they were reading from their script and they were terrific. They wouldn't miss a line. They wouldn't miss a.
But still, you had no idea what they were talking about. And you went to sleep early.
No,
right?
And every now and then, when I see something good, Alan, I'm sorry Mom isn't there.
Wow.
Alan, and they look how long already. And what helps me out with that? Everything helps me out. I have the house full of pictures,
right.
And I pull out the pictures, family, and I'm with Mom. one of the pictures I have was from Lady Luck in Las Vegas.
Right.
And I would go there every day, get another picture, and you have me kissing her, and she's kissing me,
Right.
and everything. And the funny thing about it, Alan, when you and the children first told me all this was going on, Alan, maybe because of when she died, I couldn't remember that I did it and I didn't do it. And after a while, it started to come back to me.
Right.
And
Well, that's it, because when you're doing it, you don't realize it. But even now, like there's times when I'm on my way to work, and all of a sudden I remember a song that Kara or Aaron used to sing, my kids used to sing when they were little boys and girls. And it's like all of a sudden, and then I'll either text Aaron or I'll call up Aaron in the evening and I'll start singing the song. Remember the song you used to sing when you were 2 years old? And I mean, it's all still there. It's just that sometimes you don't remember it because you're living it.
No, that's the answer. Because you're doing things and they're working. The whole thing, and they're working. Why? Because you're continuing it another day, and the family. And we're lucky about another thing, Alan. And Mom would always talk about that. The family is together.
Right.
And at that time, only one, later
I
on,
know.
one person only died.
Right.
And everything.
Right.
Mom's idea was, we are together.
Right.
There's a reason for it.
Right.
And she wasn't bashful. Look, we are the people, when they have a party, let's see the old people.
Right.
And isn't not one person, but let's see the old people.
Yeah. Well, right now there's one person,
All right.
The thing is, just think about it. Mimi and Sam, right? They're 9 years older than me, and I'm going to be 60. So this year, I mean, my next birthday, I'm going to be 60. I can't believe that, And so Mimi is going to be 69.
That's right.
I mean, she just turned 68, right? Like, no, 19, yeah, she just turned 68.
So the
But
next
still,
birthday is
that's it. So to me, it's like, what happened, And the other thing is, this morning I was realizing, I just felt like there's this movie called, I think it's called Click, and it stars Adam Sandler, and it's about this remote, right? And he has this special remote that he has, and it could fast forward life. And I was like thinking about it this morning because I woke up early because I wanted to pick you up, so I parked near Cathay House, right? Mm-hmm. And I come from Larchmont and I drive over to the Bronx to Webb Avenue, and so I woke up at 10 to 5, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting downstairs in the living room, dressed, shaved, and it was like from one thing to the next, and it was like time went like that. It was unbelievable, and that's the way life is, all of a sudden you turn around and you're on your way to work, you know what I mean? And I mean, no one knows that more than you.
And I was lucky about one other thing. Alan, right. You don't know how lucky we were. When I went into the Army, I went up to Troy, New York, to become in the Signal Corps. She would come up to me and she would stay with me for about a year.
Right.
We got pictures.
Right.
And then finally I came into the Army. What happened?
What?
She worked in a government office.
Right.
She came to Neosho,
mm-hmm.
and she had a change her life. Why? Because she rented a house. They were poor there. She knew what she was doing,
right.
And I was happy, And in Camp Crowder, where I was in Camp Crowder, they allowed the men
right.
to have the weekend off if the wife wasn't,
right.
and she got herself a good, and again, she's the one who started it. She did everything
right.
like that, and even in the Army, life was good because of Mom.
Right.
And she was there for 9 months, Alan, until he finally had to leave.
Right.
And
that's it. So you were with Mom as much as you possibly could have been.
I couldn't have been even a minute longer.
But the other thing that's interesting about your relationship with Mom was when you came back, except when, for a short period of time, you and her went into business together. So not only did you live together, but you worked together. Even though you went on the route, but you owned the laundry.
Right.
And so you would be together 7 days. I mean, you were together both at home and in the business.
Always.
Always.
Alan, again, I remember it definitely.
Right.
But the way you worded it was terrific.
Right.
That's right. She came with you.
Right.
When you were this small, Alan, and I would be in the laundry.
Yeah.
If you remember, there was a mangle.
Right, we talked
and we
about
have to
that.
do.
Right.
We talked.
Right.
And again.
But the interesting, you know, my memories are, I used to go in the subway with Mom to the store when it was in Manhattan. And I just remember the old subways. They used to have like thatched, like it was like not embroidered, but it was like different kinds of subways. I mean, the subways were old. They had
What's it called, rattan maybe?
no. Well, whatever. It was like
I know it.
was
Interwoven.
interwoven plastic, whatever it
I
was.
know.
And I remember those. And I just remember being there with Mom, and it was the best times of my life. Just looking out the window in the subways, and going with Mom to Harlem,
That's
and
right.
to. And I must have been 2 or 3 years old, because we moved to the Bronx when I was 3 years old. So, and those were good memories too. But it's amazing, you look back at 60 years, and you look back at 90 years, 100 years, whatever, the 99 years. It's amazing, and you're going to be 100 soon.
Another day, Alan, that's all it is, believe me, because the minute March 25th is over,
Right.
the 26th is finished already. I'm pushing the other 100.
Right.
But what gets me, in script, 3, 25, 15.
Right.
Next month, next 3, 25,
It's
15.
the same thing. Exactly
We leave
the
out
same
the
thing.
19, and we
And
leave
it's-
out the 20.
Right.
But
It's
Alan,
exactly
I
the
laugh
same.
about that.
I never thought of it that way.
320. When were you born? 325, 15.
Did you ever think that you would get this far,
No.
age-wise?
Oh, I don't think young people think about getting old. I mean, 20 or 30. I heard a good discussion.
Right.
Not forget about 50 or 60. When you're doing something, try to save it. Why? How would you see it now? And how is it going to be 20 years? And we're talking about that.
Right.
We're trying to visualize what 20 years from now is going to be for the average person.
That's what you do at the Kate House? Or
Yeah. When we are at
with your discussions? Or?
and it's almost impossible, because if you see what happened in
20 years ago.
from all this to now.
Because it's funny, like I was talking about computers and how I was telling someone that when I came back from Hollywood, I went back to school, how I took Lotus 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And that was a new thing back then. And because of that, I'm able to do like spreadsheets, and I became pretty much an expert in Excel and blah, blah, blah. And now, like we're so many, we're light years away from Lotus 1, 2, 3. It's amazing. And that was unbelievably new stuff when I did it. And now, I remember before, computers, before they had mice, the mouse thing that you use. And I tell that to young people, and they don't know about those things.
I don't know what you're talking about, right? Why? Because we have a computer room.
Right.
And we have 4 computers.
But you have the mice.
And I have a mouse.
But the first computer I bought, which I did when I came back from Hollywood,
Yes.
first of all, it cost almost $1,800, and it was, it was a 286. It was a piece of crap, but no, it wasn't a piece of crap. But it was, at the time, it was a good computer. But you look back at it, it had like no memory, But it was able to help me with Lotus 1, 2, 3 and all this stuff, which I needed for school. But that computer, we still have the computer. Aaron has it, because he likes to save stuff, and we still have a game on it. But it's amazing, just in the last 20 years or something like that, or 30, forget it, 20, 25 years. Technology is like...
The technology is wait a minute. The last few days, what has happened?
I know.
A comet going 45,000 miles, and they're able to put that airplane or whatever right on the comet.
It's not an airplane.
I know.
But it's like a rock, whatever it is. But
whatever it is.
And to bore into it.
No, you see the picture. Actually,
I know, it's crazy.
It's going to and it's a piece of rock.
Right.
and that thing.
And what is it going to the sun or something? Where's it headed?
I haven't got the.
But it is amazing, you know. But also, just think about it the other way. In 1969, or whatever it was, when they put the first man on the moon, was it 69 or 70? They didn't have the technology that we had, and they were still able to take someone from Earth, you know, and bring him to the moon. I mean, it's amazing, but it's just everything's amazing, Pop.
But
I don't know how we got there, but the technology is incredible. You're part of it. I remember when I was doing computers, you weren't doing it, and now you use computers all the time.
And about, again, I like to talk about Mom. Again, and I realized one thing.
Yeah.
If it were anybody else, and it may have been, who knows, but there wasn't anybody. It was Dorothy.
Right.
Dorothy was an exceptional woman.
Right.
How I was able to, I was the lucky one. She wasn't the lucky one. And somehow we meshed together. And little by little, we did what we had to do. I don't think we ever thought about the future too far.
Right.
We knew we were going to have children, and that's about it.
Right.
And after that, we had a little business that we couldn't even stay in that business. And we managed to live, Alan, maybe not according in quotation marks, normal.
Right.
Normal was we'd get up in the morning.
Right.
I'd have to go very early. And she'd go back to
The interesting thing, though, you say that normal, and you did live a normal life. But one thing that was interesting is you stayed in the same house until you moved to Cathay House. And that area that you lived in went through a transition, a cultural transition, from initially like Irish and Italian neighborhood to basically an African-American neighborhood. And the only thing that stayed the same in that neighborhood, really, for the most part, for the 50 years that you lived there, was you and Mom. And mostly everybody else moved away, but you were the people who stayed the same in that neighborhood, right?
Right. First of all, it was our house.
I know.
And I'll even say something. And because of us,
Yes.
my in-laws bought a house. Mac has a house. We have to get a house. No, and like we had to talk about this, where did I move? Into an anti-Semite.
Anti-Semitic neighborhood.
We mentioned that, but the idea is that the day we moved in,
Right.
to go to Dorothy, the lady went over to Dorothy. Of course, if you think you're going to come in and drink coffee with us, you're mistaken.
Right.
I wish I knew what her answer. There was an answer
I know.
or something. But again, we overcame that.
Right.
We lived together. Eventually, because we were not far from Einstein Hospital, nurses would come in. Nurses came and rented houses.
Oh, okay, right. That's true. No, right. And I would say this: what happened was when people started moving out, more educated, a higher educated group of people moved in.
Alan, higher ed, and there, but again, luck, and
Also people who were nicer, because the neighborhood was basically working class when you guys moved in, right?
100% working.
And working class anti-Semitic people, and we were the only Jewish family on the block, which was rough for us.
All right.
But that being said, as the transition happened in the neighborhood, more educated people came in, and also people who appreciated older people, and people were nicer to you. And I remember what your next door neighbor would help with the snow shoveling and stuff like
Alan,
that.
Why were they nicer? Because of the children. Really, they saw the children grow up. You, David, and Miriam. Even though we're going on from high school to college, and little by little, they saw successful people coming out of that neighborhood, going into a little higher and little by little, they appreciated us.
Yeah, but the old people really.
Look, the old people. Again, we were the old people also. Everybody was younger.
No, but I'm talking about the people who had lived there initially,
Initially.
none of them
Oh,
would appreciate anything.
There was a farm right across the street. We had a farm, chickens,
remember.
with chickens.
I remember
Again, but still, we, what's the way they kept on going?
Persevered.
Alan, we persevered. We said, and
We
again,
said the hell with them,
yeah,
is what we
again,
said.
it was a family thing.
Right.
By luck or whatever the children were doing well,
Right.
doing good. Oh, you went as a kid to Bronx House.
Yeah, played
and
piano
you played
lessons,
the piano,
all that stuff.
and David. We were compared to them. That's a good word. I'm going to say, we were culturally better than those people.
Well,
And by accident.
I don't know if better is a. I wouldn't say better, but we were into classical music. We were into, not culturally better, we were culturally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, who's to say which is better? But we were exposed to different types of music, folk, classical, all kinds of music, and literature. And, but their kids grew up too. I wonder what they're doing. I hope they're doing well. I know one thing. There was a guy who used to terrorize me on that block. And then later on, he came up to me and he apologized. But obviously it was too late. But at least he had a change of heart. And that happened to a lot of people. I think that because, you wind up inheriting some of the bad behaviors of your parents, sometimes you come to the realization that, you could be different than your parents.
But Mom, one thing about Mom,
Yes.
she made friends.
She did.
She made friends, and all the people, even I don't care what the people across the street who
Right.
wouldn't want us to drink with her, were sorry they ever said it, but she made friends with almost everybody in the block, from this house and a little on this house. She'd walk around, she'd even walk with you, come and speak to this person.
I'll tell you, I remember a couple of things I remembered. I remember when I first came back from Hollywood, and I was staying at home with you guys. I would take Mom out before, for Chinese, and she used to love it. Like, I'd take her every couple of weeks out for a Chinese dinner, and we never used to go out to eat, but she used to love it. And the one thing she used to love was Nick's Pizza from the Bronx. I'd bring home a Sicilian slice, and she was in heaven. She was, what was it, like a buck?
Right.
But she loved it. Oh my God! And I'd bring it home, and her eyes would open up. It's like, it was great. And
remember
the little things in life made her happy.
But remember something else. Before she would do that,
Yeah,
she worked in the laundry.
I know.
She was the marker and the sorter.
I know.
She was the
Dad, and I still have some of your linens that have a mark box, and it says Max. It says box, because your mark was the box.
That's right, my marker was the box.
And you used India ink, and you used to make a box, and next to it said Max on it.
Right. Let's tell them my mark. Every laundry has a certain emblem or a certain signal
that it belongs to Max.
Yeah. It was a square.
Right.
A square.
And you called it box.
We called it box.
I know.
And I forgot all about it.
And you know how I knew it? Because one of the kitchen towels we use has a box, and next to it says Max. But you know what, Pop? I hate to say this. It's come to that time again. And we thought again, it's like we thought we wouldn't have anything to talk about, but there's always something left to say at the end of every episode.
And all of a sudden, something comes to me.
But you know what's coming to me? That's a wrap. Good night, folks.